Hello, everyone. Hope you're all just feeling fantastic today. I'm so honored to be here nice and early for the Boss Lady Summit, and I hope you've just tuned in. We're waiting for our panelists to come on through. I hope they do come on through here. It's just going to be Edward's ear carrying the show, which has actually happened before. Now, first things first, from wherever you are across the world, be it, you know, North America, wonderful Australia, Asia, Dubai, Europe, wherever you're from, UK, I just want to say a big welcome. Now, today's an absolutely fascinating topic where we're going to talk about boss ladies, mindset, and mental health. And I've got to say, I'm extremely excited about this topic. I'll tell you why it's such an important topic to my heart. As someone who suffered with mental health myself, I talk to, I guess in our business, the majority of our clients are women, and I talk to actual legendary women on a daily basis about mental health. And it's absolutely crazy. It's especially over the past few years. We've had years of lockdowns, we've had strange things happen. And to me, it's absolutely fascinating. Now, this is going to be a funny one. I have no idea where any of our panelists are. So the thing is, if there's no panelists, you just get pure Edward's ear ranting about what he thinks about a given topic. So that's obviously going to be the topic today. So John Telson, glad we've got you. If you've just tuned on in, I just want to say it's so good to see you amazing winners. Big welcome. And we're here to talk about boss ladies, mindset, and mental health. Now, first thing I want to say to you, incredible winners, is a big shout out to amazing and wonderful Lassie. Lassie is the creator of this concept, and she is just absolutely amazing. Now, here's a few things that I want to talk to you about mental health. And hopefully we do get some panels so you just get everything. Step one, my friend, this is one of the key things about mental health, is that, and about men, women, whatever the case is that it can be so easy, I think, to think it'll get better. So let's say something isn't right in your life, something isn't working out. And I've been guilty of this for sure. It can be so easy just to feel, you know what, things will get better. Things will just improve if I do things myself, if I just soldier on. And I've seen a lot of women do this. And it's tragic. And I think it's absolutely tragic. And I'll tell you what. There's nothing wrong with something not being right with your mindset or your mental health. And I've certainly been there. And there's a lot of factors for it, I think. I think a lot of people will sort of think, I got to feel happy all the time. I got to feel this, I got to feel that. It's just not true. It's just not how life works. And if anything, there's a lot of negativity out there. Now, on a funny note, and full respect to you, whatever health you're in, not fat shaming or anything like that. But for me, been gone through a big health transformation. Lost about 20 kilos. A lot of you know that I almost got killed by a poisonous spider, which wasn't very nice. That almost took me down. But here we are, and I'm living today, which is very, very exciting. Now, here's one of the big things I want to say to you, delightfully amazing people, about mental health. There's a lot of external factors affecting it. It's not just you, and sometimes we deal with so much negativity applied to us that, our mental health affects us. Things pull us down and that type of thing. And here's one of the biggest, I suppose, some of the thinking that I have, and I do hope I get some panelists. And oh my God, we have got a panelist. We've got the amazing Simone Lord coming in. So it's just not going to be Edward's ear. So we're going to put Simone Lord up now. Simone Lord, great to have you with us.
Well, what a morning for everyone to be running a little bit late.
I know. I thought it was quite funny, actually, because I felt like Piers Morgan or something. I thought, oh my God, this is going to be Edward's ear ranting and raving for 60 minutes about what he thinks. And thank you for coming to save the show, Simone Lord.
You're welcome, Ed. Always to the rescue. As you can see, I'm wearing my Wonder Woman jumper today, so that is very, very fitting. I just had one of those Sunday mornings where the computer said no, the Wi-Fi didn't want to connect. So I apologize for being a few minutes late. But I would love to maximize this opportunity for a one-to-one interview with the Edward's ear. Why not?
Well, there you go. Because again, I was thinking I've become a real. So I've been watching a lot of Piers Morgan lately. Love him or hate him, right? And I felt like I'm like Piers Morgan. I'm just ranting. I need to get someone on the show so I can abuse them. Like get an evil man or an abuser for being sexist against women to support my empowerment. I could do something like that, couldn't I, Simone?
You could always think of a topic, Ed. I'm sure you would have no problem thinking of something to talk to anyone about.
But enough about me. Simone, thank you for joining us. It's going to be you and me carrying the show today, which is exciting. The topic for the Boss Lady Summit is mindset and mental health. And Look, we've had great chats on camera about it. Hey, I'd just love to get a monologue from you, Simone Lord. What are your thoughts on mindset, mental health, especially in relation to women and women's empowerment today?
I think they're absolutely entwined. I think there's so much to unpack in this, and there's so many different levels to look at as well. For me personally, I use exercise and physical movement as an outlet to help with my mindset and to help with mental health. So early on in my journey, it was always about losing weight when I was younger, having kids, and those sorts of things. But when my husband went through a diagnosis of having a tumor, and I was pregnant at the time, physical movement was a savior to that mindset, to that mental health. And that's why I advocate in the way that I do.
Wow, wow. That's incredible. And just to, again, for the audience here to give some backstory, please connect with amazing Simone Lord. We've known each other for years. Yeah, so Simone Lord, husband's a legendary cop, got several kids. Your husband almost died from cancer, right? And you basically were running the fort, looking after kids. I suppose you were embodying the art of the self-empowered boss lady, weren't you, Simone Lord?
Yeah, to so much extent of that. Now, I was pregnant with my first child at that time, so I didn't have other kids to run after, thankfully. But it was a huge shift because, we're all quite selfish before we've had kids. We don't know what it's truly like to have to dedicate your whole life to little humans. So it was very much about keeping myself healthy and well, physically and mentally, to cope with the trauma that we were going through and the very high stressful situation. So you can't always change your circumstances. Like that wasn't an opportunity for me to remove from environment, because a lot of the time when we talk about mental health and we talk about how we can change things and better our environments, but sometimes we just can't. We just need to ride through that roller coaster of what life is. So how do you cope, and what you do in those moments when you can't remove yourself from the circumstance? That's where mindset is really, really important. So you can either choose to just curl up in a ball and whinge and complain and my life sucks, I hate this, why me? You can do all that, or you can choose to empower yourself and forge forward and go, okay, I'm not going to let this be my reality. I'm going to move through this.
Oh, incredible. Now, I just want to check in with our audience. If you just come in today, welcome to the Boss Lady Summit. Except for Simone Lord, it's going to be us carrying the show today. So we've had quite a few ladies that can't make it. So we love them all. Actually, Dr. Liz is actually flying to Dubai, I think, as we speak.
Ooh.
She's actually flying to Dubai. So Dr. Liz sends her love.
And how cool would it be if Holly Smith tuned in while she's on in labor or something like that? Because she's, I think, about 39 weeks pregnant. So any day, I'm sure we're going to see come across those socials a picture of her new baby girl. So that is very exciting.
There we go. So we've got Holly Smith, dearly pregnant, Dr. Liz, and everyone else. I'm sure have had crazy morning. So it's Simone Lord and I carrying the show today, which is fantastic, which is actually quite exciting. So if you just come in, please smash that like, share, and comment. Connect with Lassie as well, and connect with Simone Lord. Now, it's interesting actually because I've had this debate with a few people lately, especially in relation to mental health and mindset, right? Mm-hmm. In that self-empowerment. Now, there's a lot of victimhood that we see out there, right? And I'm just going to call it out here. I'm going to go a bit Piers Morgan and call this one out, right? In that, I think a lot of women's empowerment has a lot of victim mentality tied into it, right? Mm-hmm. And I've seen it, right? I've seen women talk about empowerment, then all of a sudden start blaming all these external factors. Now, caveat, yes, these external factors have an influence, but the problem that I have with the whole victim mentality, and believe me, us men do it a lot, probably more too, is that when you use something external as an excuse for not doing yourself, in other words, I don't need to be self-empowered because I can blame this external problem over here, right? Or I don't need to work extra hard or do this because of this external problem. What's your whole take on the whole victimhood arc, Simone Lord?
I believe that that's where there's still more work to be done internally, because at the end of the day, we are 100% responsible for our lives in every way, shape, or form. And there's no one to blame for that. Everything is a circumstance of your decisions, whether you choose to believe that or not in the moment, but that is the reality of what it is. So blaming other people externally just means that you need to take more of a reflection of yourself. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to point this at me. I was the worst blamer earlier in life, right? So whenever there was a problem, I was a master of picking an external factor or person and pinning it on them, right? For example, when I was unhappy at work, it was all my boss's fault. Basically, all my life's problems are due to my boss, not the fact that I was in a stupid job that I should have left, right? Never, of course, it was never Edward's ear's fault, right?
Yeah.
Now, for those who are watching that, and it's not their fault, right? Because I think society kind of brainwashes you to be a victim. For those who are caught up in the victim mindset, Simone, and I certainly have been, what do you say to someone caught up in the victim mindset to break them out of that type of thinking?
You really need to sit back and reflect and look at your situation, look at your environment, internal, external factors, and make a choice. Make a choice. Like, domestic violence is huge, and that is an area where women often get stuck, right? And it is difficult. Yes, there's so many challenges to face, but at the end of the day, you still have control to make a decision, to leave, to stay. Everything is a decision, and you're ultimately the driver of that.
Yeah. And I think when we get persuaded to be a victim, and I say that we get persuaded to be a victim, be by external factors or people or whatever it is, when we get persuaded to be a victim, and I'm trying to go back into more of my old victimhood thinking, is that we think we've got no control. We think everything we do is controlled by someone else. And I suppose that's the ultimate matrix of it, isn't it? When we're persuaded we have no power, that's obviously where self-empowerment tips over. And then, of course, our mental health is going to slide. What do you think of all that thinking, Simone Lord?
Yeah, I think that's definitely an interesting route to go down, essentially. And I think a lot of that comes down to empathy as well. Sometimes when people over empathize on our situation, it disempowers us and then gives us an outlet to blame. Because when someone's like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you, or that's so, oh, poor you, all those types of things, language is a huge thing. And using some of those words are really disempowering and then evokes that blame or mentality around that. So it's something you'll never really hear me say. I won't ever say that I'm sorry in that context, because life is what it is and it was supposed to happen that way for a reason. I do believe that. So there's other words that you can use instead of saying, I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Now, just so you know, we've got a few legendary winners with us. We've got legendary Dara Tayrian with us. Dara's an amazing lady, and she makes a good point. Movement is such a good way to relieve mental and physical stress. Even little bits of movement during the day helps me immensely. Now, you're speaking the right lady. Simone Lord's full-on trained PT, amongst other things. Tell us all about movement and how it works in that scenario, Simone Lord.
Yeah, I believe it's different for everyone, and everyone has their different outlets. So I don't prescribe that everyone should go and do strength training or everyone should become a runner. I think you really need to find what works for you and what you like, and that will change how you feel physically and emotionally about it. But essentially, you have to enjoy it, because if you really hate it and you dislike it, you're never going to fully embody it and you're not going to embrace it. And I believe that your brain has such a connection to how your body physically works. So when you're pushing against the grind and you're doing something you really don't want to do, I don't believe that your body follows you. So you can go and run however long you want, but if you really hate it and you really dislike it, not only is that telling your mindset that you don't like it, but your body doesn't want to respond to perhaps feeling better, losing weight, not having sore joints and muscles, all those kinds of things. So it's a balance between mindset and physical movement and finding what you like and what feels good for you.
Wow, brilliant. And we've got another great share from Jill Walker. Great seeing you, Jill. Jill and I go back many years. I'm finding that dancing lessons that I started in January always leave me feeling great. And exactly what you're saying there, Simone, I suppose in the case, Jill Walker loves dancing. So therefore, if she goes dancing, it makes her feel good. So I suppose it comes, whereas I've got two left feet, dancing would leave me feeling depressed. And that if I went to a dancing class, that would decrease my mental health significantly.
But who said it has has to be a class, because there's nothing stopping you saying with your kids, all right, we're having a dance off in the lounge room, and that could just be hilarious and fun. And without having to put structure behind the dance, you actually might really enjoy that.
Yeah, I still think they'll have a good time, and for me, I'll be a national disgrace on every level, which will be hilarious. And we got one from John. We got one from. Oh, is that your dog, Simone? Is that your big black dog that just ran in?
Yes, big. She's only a puppy, but yes, it is.
She's a puppy that's like that big, right? So there you go. So
yeah. Well, she's a Kelpie / Staffy. So yeah, she's big.
Oh, there we go. Ultimate talent. And John Towson gave a good one too. I always try and go swimming, which helps me feel better both mentally and health-wise. I love it, and I love where it's all going. Now, friends, if you just tuned in, smash that like, share, and comment. We've got Boss Ladies Summit today. It's just Simone Lord and I carrying the show today, and I love it. There we go. So it's us. We're carrying the show. We might get some Boss Ladies in later. Otherwise, for me, it was just a while. I thought I was just going to go Piers Morgan and just rant for an hour about my weird thoughts about life. So now, Simone, mental health, right? Mental health. It is a spectrum. Some people have medical issues, which again, we're not here to talk about that. We're more here to talk about the empowerment side. But I want to ask you a few things, right? I want to ask you a few things. To someone who's a little bit stuck in their business and life, I'd love to get a monologue from you of some of the small things they can change immediately to build momentum. So let's say you've just been divorced. Life isn't going well for you, right? Your job sucks, right? You're stuck at a certain managerial level. You're unemployed, whatever it is. Or even if you're doing well, but you're not doing as well as you could. Can we get some thoughts from you, the little things you can change right away to start getting your trajectory heading the right way?
Yeah. A big starting point is obviously that fixed mindset or your growth mindset. So you need to be aware to want to change and to want to improve. And some people don't, and that's okay. They just like to whinge about how their life sucks in one way or another. And that's all right. They feel that they want to stay stuck there because, again, that gives them an outlet to say, poor me, and take a victim mentality.
Can I interrupt? I know I asked you a question. Can I interrupt with a funny story? I know I just asked you a question and interrupted you, right?
Story. Yes.
You're going to like this. It's very relevant. I remember, I'll never forget it. This is when I started, about 2 years ago is when I started to really take off on LinkedIn. And of course, I love LinkedIn, right? Started to really get some momentum on LinkedIn. And I have a lot of conversations with people today. So I started going from insular Ed, there's the handsome little guy, to being a character that would speak to heaps of people every day, right? Cute. Hello. Who's that? Hello.
Yes.
He's a handsome little guy. There we go. Which
yeah.
Love it.
He wants me to watch something on the iPad as I do. Just watch this. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
You're not busy. It's not like you're live streaming, Mum. Not at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all. So what it is, we should start a live streaming channel. This is fun. We'll start gaming and stuff too, Simone. We'll play video games and that. That'll be hilarious. Or watch horror films and say, I saw that coming. So what happened was, I remember it was a few years ago, I connected with this guy on LinkedIn, right? And I just connected with this guy, some from America, and he started just whinging to me about his life, right? Just connected with this guy. Literally within an hour, he started whinging to me about his life. And he started telling me how bad his life was. And I don't know what it was. I took it as a competition, right? Because everything that happened bad in his life, I've actually had worse than, right? And he would complain about something and I actually say, well, I've actually had worse than that. And basically every time he tried to complain, it was basically us playing poker. He put out a 10, I'd throw an ace, right? No matter what he said, I had worse in my, and I pointed it out. And guess what he did, Simone? Guess how he reacted towards me?
How?
Got angry. Got frustrated, right?
Yeah.
And then he started ranting at me and disconnected from me. And I'm like, and to this day I thought about it, and I thought, it's exactly what you just said. This guy, his whole life was his victim mentality. And when I started poking holes in his victim mentality, in a way I was poking holes in his egos. What do you think of all that, Simone? It kind of reminds me of what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it came a bit of a standoff as to whose life sucked the most at certain points in time, which, you know, you can either engage with those things or you don't have to. But obviously, that's you guys had that exchange, so go for it. But at the end of the day, everyone likes to feel that they're in the hardest position or they're the worst when they're in that fixed mindset, right? So no one else's life could be as bad as what theirs is right now, and that's just how their flow kind of goes. And yeah, they get offended, like obviously what you did to him. They were offended that they couldn't, or you weren't giving them that poor you type scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, Jill Walker, love you, Jill. Jill Walker's one of our old friends. She just said he wanted to complain. Yes, and I suppose that's it. And this brings me to one of our key talking points, right, that I want to explore now. Complaining. You know, our society is full of complaining. Like, this guy wanted to complain to me, I wouldn't hear it. Complaining to Simone Lord, it'll be more productive to complain to a brick wall than Simone Lord. It wouldn't work, right?
Not at all.
Yeah. I think society is sick and rewards complaining. What do you think of that statement, Simone Lord?
I think it depends in what context it's in, because obviously there's a time and a place for complaining, but it's how we go about it. So I've been quite frustrated with my swim school because I'm not getting my discount for my third child, and swimming lessons are quite expensive, as I'm sure
we know
you know.
that. Yes. For anyone around the world, swimming lessons are super expensive. Yeah.
Yes. So I think whenever you're making a complaint or there's something that you want to push forward in that context, you need to be aware that the person that you're generally speaking to isn't the person that is responsible for the action to happen. So it's one thing to complain and have an outlet for that frustration. But then there's, on the flip side, the more that you can remain neutral and actually take a very sort of open-minded approach to it, the better the outcome generally is. So when I approached the swim school yesterday, when I was there again, and said, look, I feel like I'm a broken record about this. I've been asking you every week for 6 weeks, and I'm not finding that it's resolved. Now, I know it's not you. I know it's the direct debit company that needs to resolve this issue, but I'm frustrated right now. So she went ahead and actually gave me more of a credit than what I was owed, just because she was empathetic, I guess, to the situation and wanted to resolve it in that moment. So for me, not complaining in a negative way from having a positive context to that, I actually ended up better off.
I suppose that's it. There is such a thing as positively complaining, like, hey, I have this problem here. Can you please help me resolve it? I would argue that's not complaining, right? I know I'm getting semantical here, right? It's semantical a word, I know. But interesting, go back to this person, like, I did not cause this guy's problems in his life. So him complaining to me, I would argue is negative complaining. And I'm sure you'd agree with that. Awesome, Simone.
Yeah. Or on the flip side, you know, every complaint, instead of giving him a one-up of how it was better, you could have just complimented that with something really positive, or a suggestion of like, why don't you try this? Oh, it's not that bad. You know, you could do this instead. Those sorts of things. It's kind of flipping a switch in your mind of what it is. Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. And Jill Walker, we love you, Jill Walker. Jill Walker says, although this has issues, there is some value in the approach. Don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. I like that, actually. That's why Jill is the embodiment of empowered ladies, and I love it. Now, I got a different funny angle for you as well. And this is totally different. And again, this has become a totally different panel because it's the Simone Lord and Edward Deer show. Now, my mental health got put to the test recently, and you heard, and a lot of you know this, I actually almost died a few weeks ago. I got bitten by it turned out to be a brown recluse spider, one of the world's top, most poisonous spiders. Got bitten on the back here. It's coming good now. And I was actually a few days off death. It was, I've come closer to death than I have here, right? So you know when death is knocking on the door, right? You know when you're playing with death, right? And I most certainly was, right? Very long story there. But the bit more bring it back to empowerment and mental health, right? This really, really tested my resolve, right? And it's like, I might actually die in the next few days, right? It's a very, very scary thought when you have that. But the reason why I bring it up, not just to go me, poor Edward Deer, far from it. But what I found is that this whole almost dying experience has gotten me, it's actually improved my mental health. I'm actually a lot more positive and appreciative of what I have, because here's the thing, right? And this is where I'm launching off from. So I was bitten actually in a good spot. I was bitten on my back here, right into a big muscle. So in other words, as the poison hit me, the muscle could absorb the poison. If I was bitten, as a few people says to me, if I was bitten 2 inches to the right near the spine, I would have had cardiac arrest in 5 to 10 minutes. I probably would have been dead. So it goes straight, spine, heart, you're dead, right?
Mm.
Now, interestingly, the thing that I've started to realize is Lassie and I have been reading cases of women who've had spider bites on their legs and had their legs amputated. So I've done pretty well, right? I'm living and haven't had anything amputated. What I've realized, one key thing about mental health, Simone, is that whatever we have bad to us, I've noticed someone else has got it a lot worse. What do you think of that whole topic and arc there?
Yeah, well, I think to start with, it's interesting that it often takes a very traumatic experience or a near-death experience before we appreciate how well our life is or how much we are grateful for everything that is around us. So I think that's an issue within itself, that it takes a near-death experience to then appreciate where we're at. And it is one of those things that we do like to compare and in judgment, because then that helps us process the situation and move forward, right? So the fact that someone's lost their leg or potentially lost their life makes me think, okay, well, I'm doing all right. That didn't happen to me, so therefore I can get through this. I guess we use it not as such as a coping mechanism, but as a way to sort of process and go, all right, yeah, I can get through this.
Yeah. I think I was using it as a coping mechanism. I think I was, because it's funny actually, because, and you would know this being a PT, and Jill Walker says having your back amputated is interesting. Yeah, I actually had to get some minor surgery as well. So I did have to get some minor surgery, but it was okay. Actually, I had to get some minor surgery on last Friday, which took me.
Did they cut the muscle? Did they want the muscle out? Did they cut the muscle where the bite was, or no?
Yeah. So what? This is going to be very gross, and I know this is a Boss Lady Summit, and
let's go.
but let's go there. Do I get your permission to be a little bit gross? Do I get your permission?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. And I'm just going to project Simone Lord's opinion onto all of our hundreds of viewers. And if you just come in, smash that like, share, and comment. You're probably wondering, where's the Boss Lady Summit? Well, a lot of the Boss Ladies could update that Simone Lord and I are running the show. I tell you what, Simone Lord has a strong back. She could carry the show by herself, no problem, right? But what they actually had to do was I had to get several rounds of minor surgery. So what it was that it was basically, it's going to sound gross, it's basically digging out necrotic dead flesh, right? Sucking out certain areas where basically the venom and infection is, and also basically spraying anesthetic in there. So it was antiseptic in there. So it's pretty much a lot of sucking out the poison at different parts. But it was actually a huge wound, right? But the reason why I bring it up is I did cope with it as I dealt with, almost died a few weeks ago. As I was dealing with the fallout of this, what has helped me cope, right, is Lassie started showing all these photos of people who've lost limbs, people who've died. And it's like, I'm starting to get more empowered in that here's the thing, whatever bad happens to us, I can guarantee you I can find someone who's got it way worse, because even I started being a bit of a victim. I started falling into victim mentality. And I think when you start sliding into victim mentality, when you start thinking about people who've got it worse than you, I don't know, that kind of gets me some perspective. What do you think, Simone Lord?
Yeah, it's definitely a tool you can use to help you through that situation. Absolutely. As long as it doesn't become a comparison and judgment, right? That's where it changes, and what we've been talking about a little bit before that as well. But I believe it's okay to use it in a healthy context to help you forge forward through that situation. And it's tough when something like that happens, because it affects your life in so many ways. You know, it's like, okay, it's a wound on the back, but before you know it, you can't actually sleep because you can't lie down properly. And all these other roll-on things. If you can't sleep, your mental health is always going to be affected, and your physical health.
Now, sleep's a good one. I thank you for bringing up, because it's funny, because bit of trivia for you, I hate sleeping on my sides. I'm always I sleep like I'm dead. I like sleeping on my back. I couldn't sleep on my back. So I couldn't sleep properly for weeks. And that degraded my mental health. And look, I'm a positive guy who's done a lot of NLP. I had to use every trick in the book just to keep functional, right? Now, tell us all about sleep. I know you're very well qualified on this topic. Sleep is a huge problem, especially for women. A lot of women just don't sleep properly. Simone, can you give us a sleep monologue in terms of mental health and everything?
Oh, sleep is massive. It is something that helps us recharge and reboot. It can go both ways. You can have too little and you can definitely have too much. But for the most people, and in the context of being a woman and being a mother, once you have kids, you have no idea. You thought you were tired before. Wait until you have a little new human, and then you're interrupted with sleep day after day, week after week, year after year. There's nothing like that to affect how you feel physically and emotionally. That is something that really, really is draining. And it is working around, what can I do to better this situation? Because again, you can't remove yourself from that environment. Or you could, but it's unlikely you're going to say, okay, I'll just give this baby to someone else now because it's interrupting my sleep. You need to find the strategies and processes to work around that. So where and how you do that is a very individualized journey, but it's also about who's around you to support you, who can help me through this time, because having the right people around us is super important. It does make a difference.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Now, sleep, right, in terms of mental health, right? And now I can lie on my back. I'm actually starting to sleep again, which is why I feel better all of a sudden, right? I noticed a few things that actually, and again, Simone and I have many chats to this topic off camera. Lack of sleep is bad for mental health. And you would know the stats better than me. Like, I find when you don't sleep properly, you eat poorly, you excessively eat. Mental health issues can pick up. What's some of the actual fallout of not enough sleep, like more in terms of specific issues?
Oh, yeah. And again, it's individualized for everyone, but so much. It's a mood factor. It does affect your mindset as well. Clearly, you eat poorly because you're trying to give yourself more energy and you're not getting that from sleep. So then you're like, okay, if I just have chocolate and maybe another coffee, maybe something else, that's going to give me that pep up that I need. Unfortunately, it's so short-lived. You're probably lucky if it sustains you for an hour before you're looking for the next hit of sugar, of caffeine, or of whatever. I feel like you want to say something there, Ed.
Well, what I was thinking is I did all the above. I did all that. So everything you're saying is that as my sleep degraded and my mental health slid over the past few weeks with the spider bite, I did all of the above, Simone Lord. So I would find myself late snacking, drinking more coffee. It's like, it's that sort of spiral. It's like you're not sleeping properly, you don't feel good. So therefore you do all these behaviors to try and get yourself through the day, and then you deal with the fallout of that. It's a whole poisonous cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I'll often talk about this with my husband as well, because shift working is quite difficult because you don't get to sleep when you're supposed to. Your body is supposed to sleep at night. That is just how it goes. But when you have a profession or you have a job that doesn't allow for that, or you're changing your sleep cycles, you can often feel tired even when you've had maybe 7 or 8 hours sleep. Now, I don't prescribe sleep. I think it's different for everyone. For me personally, I'm happy with about 6 to 7 hours. That's good for me. My husband, on the other hand, he needs 9. He's just like grumpy if he doesn't get his 9 hours sleep. So it's different for everyone, but we can often use tired as an excuse. And that, I think, is where the physical element and physical movement comes back into it, because when you burn energy, you make more energy. So physical movement will help you then fall asleep because you've used your energy, right? Now it's depleted, now it can replenish.
Oh my God, that's a pleasure. And just a quick one. I just want to check in with our fans. Thank you for joining us on the Boss Ladies Summit. It's Simone Lord and I carrying the show. It's like one of those special episodes. There we go. And we got Cami with us. Cami, we love you. Cami's one of our amazing friends. And Jill Walker talks about gin being good for sleep. That's true. I've had gin on many business flights, and it does help you sleep more. I agree with that.
Well, it can actually have the opposite effect. And lots of people do think that if I have a couple of glasses of wine or something, that will help me sleep. It changes the quality of your sleep. So that's a whole new conversation in itself. But you may wake up with brain fog, aka a hangover, and it doesn't leave you with the clarity for the next day. So although you think that's going to help in the moment, it can sometimes do the opposite effect. But I'm sure not after having one nice gin, a nice nightcap. But when people are drinking in more excess of that, then yeah, it actually has the opposite effect.
So we're saying consume, especially on LinkedIn Live, drink moderately and drink responsibly. And you must be over 18 or 21 in America, wherever it is, right?
Absolutely.
21. Now interestingly, a funny thing that has just come to mind, I was thinking about this, right, is with my whole poisonous spider bite, my mental health was very questionable. It felt like I had I wasn't drinking, but it was like I was always hungover. Think of a really bad hangover. That's how I felt for weeks straight. Starting to sort of come normal again, right? Now I'm going to ask you a more specific, almost maybe even a nutrition question, but I want some advice from you for those who have brain fog right now, or they're sick, or their mindset isn't where it needs to be. Their mental health isn't where it needs to be. What do you say to people in that exact bottom of the trough to sort of get out of it? What are some of the top, if a client went up to you and says, Simone, I'm feeling terrible, my mental health is I'm feeling all terrible, how would you sort of break this? What would be your circuit breaker? How would you stop that process and get them swinging up? Can we get some real particular, I know it varies from person to person, but get some really good detail from you on that one.
Yeah, well, to start with, I think that they've already broken the circuit by seeking out assistance, because all change starts with awareness. And when you're aware of your situation and you want to make a change, that's the circuit breaker right there. When you seek out someone to sort of assist you, that's where it all starts. And whether that's just a conversation with a family member or a friend going, oh, I feel like crap, I just want to change, or you're seeking out professionals to assist you, that's the best place to start. The next thing to really do is to reflect, where am I right now and where do I want to be? So by having that awareness of what's going on for me right now, where do I want to take this? You don't need to work out how. That's up for other people and professionals to do that. You don't always need to know the plan, but you just know where you are right now and where you want to get to. Because once you know that, you can then find the people to help you through that. But if you don't know where to go, then people often will try and help you and throw so many ideas at you that it then becomes confusing and overwhelming, and then you feel you're still stuck. So by you just taking that next step of going, okay, this is what I want to happen, whether that is just changing a job, whether that's exercising more, or whatever your situation is, knowing where you want to get to can then help you find the people that will work out how to make it happen.
I couldn't agree with you more. We've got Connie Matthews with us. Great seeing you, Connie Matthews. Connie Matthews makes a good point. I love you expanding this one, Simone Lord. Gut health and brain fog are linked. Oh my God, I've learned all about gut health with all my fasting over the past few years. Simone, tell us about gut health.
Yeah, this is, I don't want to say it's a buzz because everyone's talking about gut health, right? But the science is clearly showing us that there's so much related to our physical and emotional well-being from our gut. And they call it our second brain. We've all heard that terminology around as well. And it is more so thinking intuitively about things as well. Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
We're not here. There are any problems.
Handsome little guy there.
It is all about really working with your systems and what works for your body. So from a nutritional perspective, we all know eating cleaner is going to help us. You know, I don't prescribe different diets, but I do believe that different things work in different stages and places. Your intermittent fasting obviously really helps you, Ed. That's not for everyone, and that's okay. And you might find that in 12 months' time, it's not for you either. You might want to change out of that routine, and that's okay, because I believe that different things serve you at different times in your life, and fasting is working for you now, and that's improving your gut health. The next thing you might want to think about is perhaps not having 10 coffees a day. But you know, when you're ready to make that change and cut down on that caffeine, I've been caffeine free for about 9 months now, 10 months.
Wow.
And I can tell you when it first happened, I was freaking out. I was thinking, I can't survive a day without caffeine. This is
Wow.
no way. Why would I do this? And I did it for gut health reasons, for other internal reasons. And I've actually was so surprised that I have more energy now from not having the caffeine than when I did. And I saved myself $6 from my almond cafe lattes.
So no more almond, soy, frappuccino, latte, cappuccinos for you, right?
I might have one like once a week or something like that, but caffeine's not something that I need on a daily basis. And it helps me sleep better and I'm more focused because I'm not having it. So when you make a decision on, okay, changing something, and for me, it was about my adrenals. So I was I'm a very go, go, go person, and caffeine was exacerbating that. I didn't realize it because I didn't feel heightened because of it, but it actually was affecting my gut health. So taking that out and then feeling a new level of focus and being able to sort of carry on with my day, still with lots of energy, was like, wow, okay, that was really great. What's the next step for me? How do I then continue to optimize? So you don't always have to go to the max level. It really depends on the type of personality you have. I'm a bit of an all or nothing person. If I say I'm not going to do caffeine, then I'm not going to wean it off. I'm just cutting it out.
And then you'll jump on Twitter and condemn coffee companies and accuse, caffeine drinkers are the worst people ever. There you go. So
the smell of coffee.
I've got a few honourable mentions. Our friends have just come in. We got Simone Lord with us today. Our Boss Ladies Summit has talked into the Simone Lord and Edwards Ear Health Show, which has been fantastic. Thank you for supporting our Boss Ladies. Our Boss Ladies all got tied up today. It's been a crazy few times. They've got a great few shares. One from Connie Matthews, we love you. And I'll read some of the comments. 60 to 70% of your immune system is controlled by your gut. Yes, the second brain. I believe that because what happened to me was, now, obviously I've had a big spider bite that's really affected my health. So what was interesting is before I got the poisonous spider bite about a month ago, I was actually really healthy before that. And that actually came from improving my gut health. So it's funny, the gut and the brain, obviously very linked. I don't think anyone's going to debate that. And interesting too, Jill Walker's made an interesting comment. Saw an interesting article that said there's a link between depression and reduced gut microflora. Not surprised at all. That's very, very believable. And we've got Michael Thomas, the Confident Coach for the UK. Great seeing you. If you just come in, smash that like, share, and comment. Please connect with Simone Lord. And our panelists are all missing in action, but we'll try and get them back for next month. So this is the Simone Lord and Edwards Ear Show, which is all very, very, very good. Now, in fact, I got a funny comment for you, actually. You know that very cool actor, Michael Fassbender, Simone Lord?
No.
Okay. He plays like Magneto. He's in a lot of stuff, right? You recognize him.
Okay. Yes, I know who that is.
As in the young, good-looking one, not the old Ian McLennan, right? The young one, right? I'm going to call you Michael Fassbender. There's a running joke about Michael Fassbender. They'll cast him in an awful film, and the film's just terrible, but he'll actually he's such a great actor, he'll actually make the film work. So they joke that Michael Fassbender always has a sore back because he's always carrying poor actors and poor storylines everywhere. So there we go. So you're our Michael Fassbender. Simone Lord's got a sore back carrying the whole Boss Ladies concept. I love it. There we go.
Very cool.
You're a female Michael Fassbender. Now, I know you have to go soon as well. You do have a 9 a.m. and I'm well aware of that. And I'm just going to go into a weird Piers Morgan rant for the next 10 minutes when you finish up, right?
Sure.
But I know you've got to go soon. Can we just get your closing thoughts from you, Simone Lord, on mindset, mental health? Is there anything else you'd love to say? Because now we'd love to hear it.
I think being aware that it is a personal journey and what worked for one person doesn't necessarily work for the next, and not to be disheartened about that and don't feel like you're failed or what am I doing wrong. We quite often question ourselves about things. Someone's losing weight doing keto next to you and then you're like, okay, I'm doing the same thing. It's not happening for me. I think just realizing that everybody and every human is individualized and finding the right people to support you around that is super important. Having people around you to support you and that you look up to is really good for your mental health as well. Just to be around people that you aspire to be or to be like is really important.
Oh, there we go. Simone Lord, thank you so much. And just before you go too, did you want to do a quick capitalistic sales pitch?
Sure, why not, Ed?
Bit
I'll
of
take the opportunity.
capitalism.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who I'm not connected with, and I'm sure there's many watching this live video on your with your amazing connections, Ed. I'm a mum to 3 boys. My boys are 9, 7, and 5 years old. I'm a wife to a police working husband, so we live a shift working life, which means there's no stability and routine to our days. And within that, I've found a passion and purpose for helping people streamline their lives to be healthier and happier, both physically and emotionally, with holistic approaches, like some of the things we've been talking about today. So, in an individualized way. And I also work full time. I work corporately with Christian Lavolsi and Adrian Lee. I help business owners find the fundamentals of what they need to do to grow and scale their businesses, which is super fun. And I volunteer quite a bit as well. I'm passionate about supporting mental health for Fortum Australia, which supports frontline workers. And I'm a board member of the Illawarra Women's Health Centre down here in South Coast, New South Wales, so which is supporting domestic violence and things like that. So I'm very much on purpose with what I want to do and who I want to help. And I can do that in many ways. So I would just welcome anyone who would like to have a conversation with me around any of those topics. My good friend and part of Edward's community, Sean Tucker, we are launching our 3-day free health challenge that starts tonight, actually, Sydney time, 7 p.m. And if it's okay, Ed, I actually might drop the link if anyone wants to, after this live finishes, if anyone wants to come along and learn a little bit more about the science in your body and why personalization is the best way to go. It'd be awesome to see you. We're going to run it over 3 nights, an hour each night, kicking off tonight at 7 p.m. It would be, great to see you there and to dig more into the science of human anatomy and all of those kinds of things.
There we go. Simone Lord, thank you so much. We'll release you now back to your day of dealing with chaos. And I just want to say, you're getting the Michael Fassbender Award for you've got a sore back from carrying boss ladies. So you're Michael Fassbender now.
Well, if anyone ever gets stuck and they need an emergency fill-in, give me a call. I'll probably just jump online and I can rant about something for 47 minutes to help you through your situation.
Well, there you go. So speaking of ranting, well, Simone, we'll leave you to a day. Everyone's going to get a 13-minute Piers Morgan style rant from Edward's ear. So there we go.
I love that. Thanks, Ed. Have an awesome day, everyone. And thanks for having me.
Oh, love your work. And there we go. So there you go, friends. You heard it from Simone Lord. And this has been one of the most fascinating Boss Lady Summits we've ever had, in that our Boss Lady panelists have all been tied up. So hope they're all okay. In fact, actually, Dr. Liz is I believe she's actually flying to Dubai right now as part of her work, which is exciting. Now, friends, if you just tuned in, we're going to spend a bit of time here. It's going to be Edward's ear sharing his thoughts on mental health mindset, boss ladies, and women's empowerment. Now, you might think, why should I listen to a dude like Edward's ear talk about women's empowerment? Well, A, I'm into women's empowerment. B, the majority of our clients are women, and every day I'm talking to women about this topic. So to me, empowerment's very important. So if you're here, smash that like, sharing, comments, say hello, and make sure you connect with Lassie and our other panelists as well. I'm going to share some thoughts with you. Now, a few comments. John Telson's got to go to work. We love you, John. We'll see you later on. And I'm back to Jill Walker. And I'm actually going to read out Jill Walker's comment. Jill Walker's an amazing lady. The article that I saw was not about the quantity of gut microflora, but variety. What they found was that within a sample of people, the depression ratio of types of flora is significantly different to healthy people. Yeah, that's been one of the interesting things is we've heard a lot lately about the whole gut health mind connection. And I believe it to be true. Now, I'm not a scientist, and I never said I was. But as someone who's lost over 20 kilos, who's radically improved their health over the past 2 years, minus the spider bite that almost killed me a few weeks ago, that was certainly a speed hump in Ed's recovery. That's the biggest thing that I've learned is what you eat is very, very, very important. And Connie Matthew makes a good point too. Your gut is like a fingerprint. It is individual you, hence the challenge. Absolutely. Now, it's funny actually, and I want to talk about our friend Sean Tucker here. Sean Tucker, who works with Simone Lord, great guy. He's actually the guy that got me onto intermittent fasting. And he can actually tell by my body type that I would benefit greatly from fasting. And he got me onto intermittent fasting and all that. But what's interesting, I want to bring it back to mental health. What's fascinating is that at the end of the whole lockdown season, 2 years lockdown, I was overweight. My mental health was so meh compared to what it used to be. But here's the bit that was fascinating. As I improved the health of my stomach, and it's the old saying that food can be your medicine. I think it's more of a Chinese medicine reference, but I believe it to be true. The more we eat properly, right? Even those little changes is the better off. So I'll give you an example, and everyone's just going to laugh at me, right? I feel kind of stupid saying this over LinkedIn Live, but let's just do it anyway. I know I'm just going to embarrass myself. I'll continue to. But what's interesting is this, right? I was the ultimate 10 p.m. at night eater. So once 10 p.m. hits, I'd be in the fridge going, no. I'd have the chips, the chocolate, the cheese, the crackers. I would have everything. And I would absolutely gorge myself, destroy myself on a frequent basis. And and Jill Walker makes a good point. Gut microflora is affected by what you eat and enables what you eat. That's interesting. So what happened was, friend Sean Tucker, so what I originally started doing, and I still actually do it mostly this day, most of the time, is the whole 12 to 8. So in other words, I don't eat till midday and I stop eating by 8 p.m. But let's just talk about stopping eating at 8 p.m. What I do is every day is my hard rule is after 8 p.m. I stop eating. Even if I can stop eating by 7:30, I'm happy. Now, what's interesting about all that is that I would sit there and do all the late night snacking, and I was awful at it. And I know a lot of you watching are doing it. If you're doing late night snacking, stop it. Stop it. You're the adult. Don't do it, right? Just don't do it. But anyway, I was doing all the whole late night snacking, and you'd sleep roughly. You'd feel terrible. You wouldn't get a full night's sleep with the late night snacking I was doing. You feel terrible. And when you wake up, you just feel seedy. You feel lethargic. You don't have that mindset that you need to really get you through things. And I remember, it really, really got the better of me. So it was very, very, very hard work. And Jill makes a good point as well. A friend of mine, like bit of trivia about gut microflora. A friend of mine was brought up as a vegan and now cannot eat meat. Fascinating. There we go. Absolutely amazing. And it's interesting, when you bring race and heritage. I come from like an Arabic Islamic background, right? And as you know, in the Islamic world, pork is a no-no, right? And if I eat pork, I get really sick from it. It's like my body says, no, you shouldn't be eating this. So it's amazing how it's all linked. So here's some of my thoughts. And this is what I've proven to be true, but also all the women I talk to all the time, right? These are some of my thoughts on the importance of health. Health this is my view. If you've got a serious medical issue, I'll go back a little bit. Don't be a proud person like me. If you need some professional help, you get it. So what happened to me was I've always been a healthy sort of character my whole life. My mental health and my health slid so badly during the lockdowns. I did well for a while, but then I just caved, which is my fault, right? Now, where I went wrong was for a while I tried to solve it all myself. I was using my ego. It's like, I can handle this, I can do it. But you know what I found, my legendary friends? I needed professional help. I spoke to people like Simone and Sean Tucker and the like. And when I got their help, that's when my health turned around. So please get professional help is my first advice to you, right? We're just having a general chat. I will say, please get professional help, right? The second thing, let's say you've done that, right? And I'll push that aside. And the second point is start with the little changes. That's my big bit of advice to you. The little changes are everything. So for example, when I just stopped eating after 8 o'clock, that actually radically solved my health because I realized I was damaging my health. Most of the damage, other than getting killed by poisonous spiders like I did the other month, the actual damage I was doing to my health, I was doing it to myself with what I ate after 8 p.m. So when I stopped that whole cram food, chips, chocolate, after 8 p.m., that radically improved my health. So that's the key point as well. Great share from Jill Walker too. We love you, Jill Walker. And if you're here, smash that like, share, and comment. Tell me what you think. Our boss ladies, we had Simone Lorden today. Our boss ladies couldn't make it today. They all got caught up. So you've got a 1 hour rant from Edwards here. Now, I've got 6 minutes left till I'm out. But you know me, I can rant and rave all day. Jill Walker makes a really good point. I'm convinced that my friend who did not eat meat as a child didn't develop the gut flora required to digest meat. Makes sense, actually. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, especially if you raised a vegan, I imagine eating meat later in life is quite tricky. You're just not used to it. And yeah, Jill Walker makes a good point. Not eating after 8 p.m. helps you sleep. So here's my big bit of advice to you, right? Start small and turning your health around, right? You beat your mental health. Get some professional help if you need it. Nothing wrong with that. You don't have to tell anyone, but of course, nothing wrong with that as a guy who's needing professional help. The second thing I want to say to you is, what little changes can you make? If you know you're doing something stupid, right? Like, oh, I was eating after 8. I know a lot of you are doing that. Stop it, right? The second thing I want to say to you as well is try and get some movement in as well, right? One of the things that I do all the time is I even kept up a lot, not all the time, but I kept this up as I was recovering from my, near mortal wound from the spider. But walking is very important, right? If you're able to walk safely, walking now, I actually build up my steps to 10,000 steps a day. It's fantastic. I've actually kept up, I'm surprised actually. I've actually kept up a lot of 10,000 steps with my whole spider issue. So I think that's very important. And the other thing is, this is where Simone and everyone was going, who you surround yourself by. This is so very, very important. If I meet someone, if I talk to a lady, women's empowerment, if I talk to a lady that isn't doing that well in life or she's not feeling good, almost always there's someone in her life putting bad stuff into her head, right? Be it a family member, be it a friend, and I say friend very loosely here. But there's always someone in their life that's actually causing them problems, that's actually creating them havoc, right? And I see it all the time, right? And it saddens me to see that, and this is what I often say to people, is getting the toxic people out of your life will be amazing for you, okay? Get the toxic people out of your life, right? Now, you might say to me, Ed, there are no toxic people in my life. Awesome, thank God. You might start be sitting there thinking, oh, God, Ed, yeah, you know what? There are a few toxic people in my life. And if there are toxic people in your life, I'm sorry to hear that. Now, here's two things. You might be saying, Ed, my toxic person's my brother or my sister. I can't block them on LinkedIn. Not suggesting that. Here's my advice to you. If you have a toxic person in your life that's quite close to you, put a bit of a wall between them. Don't let their ideas get to you. Put a bit of a mental wall between them. Create a bit of distance, right? Because that distance will be very healthy for you. And also, too, that person will pick up on the distance and it might cause them to reevaluate their thinking. And if it's someone you don't know that well or someone you can move on from, life is short. Move on from toxic people, because that toxic energy that goes into your head on a regular basis is really, really bad for your mental health. Now, I have the opposite of that, which is thank God. So when I almost died a few weeks ago from my spider bite, brown recluse spider, look them up. It's actually a bit of trivia. It's actually an American spider. I thought I was wrong on this one. I thought I was poisoned by an Australian spider. No, it's actually an American spider that was imported from America to Australia, but it's all over Australia. So I just claimed it as an Australian spider. It's actually an American spider, more poisonous than else thing. But as I recovered from that, as I was recovering from that experience, to me, I'm the opposite. Including Lassie, shout out to Lassie, shout out to you winners. I have such positive people in my life putting so much positivity into me. That's what kept me going. Right, really, really did. And I'm the first to say it. Like, a lot of people say, Ed, you're so positive, and how do you do it? Surrounded by the right people. And that's one of the biggest things. And this is actually going to be one of my closing thoughts to you. Surround yourself with the right people. As you surround yourself with the right people, you're going to feel better about life, and you're going to feel better about who you are and what you do. And that's the biggest thing I can say to you. So surround yourself by the right people. And the final thought, the closing thought I want to say as well, as we finish up in 2 minutes, is that life is short. And I recently got a reminder of this one, is life is short, and there's an old saying, death waits for no one. Well, the actual saying is death waits for no man, but of course I'm going to make that more PC and more inclusive. Death waits for no one. That's so true. It's funny, actually, because I was thinking, about a month or two ago, man, I'm doing healthy really well. Boom, I almost died out of nowhere. I got bitten on a flight. Not kidding, right? I got bitten on a business class flight. There you go. I'm still flying, by the way, because I'm a lunatic. As you can see, my beautiful. I like this background. Tell me if you like my background. I just want to get some input on that one. I love this shot. Taken as I was, you see Sydney in the background as I was taking off from Sydney, I think on the way to Brisbane. Wasn't that I almost got killed. But here's a big thing, right? A big closing thought I have for you winners is, life is short. You don't get a second chance at it, and your life can, and I'm trying to be too dark here, but I'm just being honest with you. You never know when your number's up. right? My number was almost up a few weeks ago, and what is it? Death. The Death, the character of the sequel, said to me, Ed, your time isn't done just yet, which is all very, very good. So remember, your number could be up at any time. So live your life, surround yourself with people you love, and really take it from there. So, friends, thank you for being part of Boss Ladies Summit. This was the Simone Lord and Edwards Ear Show. A lot of our boss ladies couldn't make it today, but I'm sure we'll pick them up next time. So, friends, please smash that like, share, and comment. Connect with wonderful Lassie and myself, and especially Simone Lord, who helped us carry the show today. I gotta say, see you next time. Friends, love your work all. Bless your amazing hearts. Thank you to Jill, Connie, and the lot for all your input. I love your work, and you people are awesome. And here is to legendary women and legendary women's empowerment.